Man, did I overhype myself on this one. Samaritan, starring Sylvester Stallone. Now, I said with my Bullet Train review that I was going to keep that one short, and I kind of didn't. But I feel like this one is going to be pretty short. Mostly because, like I said with the other one, which I found out I was wrong about because I ended up ranting for like 15 minutes, there's just not a lot to talk about with this movie. And don't get me wrong, it's not terrible, but it's not very good either. The trailer made this movie look pretty good. It seemed like it was going to be a decent action comedy. Wasn't really a comedy, first off. That kind of... The trailers kind of made it look like it was going to be some kind of tongue-in-cheek superhero action comedy. But that's not what this movie is. And I didn't like the differences that I saw. Like, the trailer made this movie look pretty fun. This movie is just flat out boring. Man, this movie is boring. Like, Bullet Train kind of bored me, but at least it had enough action spread out throughout the entire movie that it kind of kept me it at least kept me a little bit entertained, even if I wasn't really invested in the bullshit story they had. This one, it's the same cliche at this point. Old superhero who's retired and doesn't want to help and stay out of the game for too long has to come back for one more showdown with a new villain. We've seen the story done so many times, and it was ruined with The Last Jedi and with Obi-Wan Kenobi, where it didn't fit there, and now everybody wants to do it for some reason because people liked The Last Jedi? No, they didn't. Nobody liked Last Jedi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was only liked by Disney shills. So why do people want to keep doing this story? The story is like the worst part of this movie. I will say that. It's like the same thing I said with Secret Headquarters, which was another like bad superhero movie that had a lot of cliches and a lot of superhero movie ripoffs. But I will say this one's better than Secret Headquarters. Secret Headquarters is garbage. This one isn't garbage, and I'll get to why in a bit. But it's just straight up boring. Again, it didn't bore me as much as Secret Headquarters, but the story is just terrible. Like I already broke down what the essential plot is. He has to come back when a new villain basically takes up the mantle of the old villain and starts wreaking havoc on the city, and he has to come back to save the day with this annoying-ass kid who basically brings him out of retirement, and it's just not fun. I hate child sidekicks, and the kid's supposed to be, like, the main lead, really. It's not very good. So I will say, Sylvester Stallone, he's always been a great actor. He's one of my favorite actors. I love Sylvester Stallone. Most of what he does, I really like. There are, of course, movies he's been in that I thought were shit, and I think most of you know what most of those are. Like, basically, if you've seen a bad Sylvester Stallone movie, I've seen it. I've seen most of his movies, and even, like some of the later Rocky movies I can't stand, but he's a great actor. He always has been. Maybe that's pushing it, because I haven't seen any of, like, his, like, really early stuff. Like, I don't think I've seen anything pre-Rocky, but I've seen a lot of his stuff. He's a really good actor, and he has a producing credit on this, too, because of course he does. And but that's not really relevant, but here he's doing the old man shtick. He doesn't have a lot of charisma. He's kind of monotone throughout the entire thing, and I can tell it's deliberate, but that doesn't make it good. The kid's annoying, and he's not a very good actor. Like, I don't like taking shots at kid actors because it's highly possible that they're just given poor direction, and that could be the case here. I've never heard of this director, but I don't know, but he wasn't very good. There aren't a ton of other characters. They have that kid from Hannah Montana in this, Moses Arias or something. And I couldn't stand the character. Even as, like, an antagonist, the kid was just annoying. Like, there's nothing wrong with the performance, just his writing was awful. The writing of the villains as a whole is awful. Like, the one exception is, like, the main villain's, like, girlfriend. She has, like, one scene where she talks to Sam, and it's, like, that was an okay done scene. Like, the writing wasn't too bad there, but the rest of it is just, like, they're so over the top and it's not in a fun way. So, I will say this movie does have a couple of saving graces, and both of them come in the last 30 minutes. once the action kicks in the last 30 minutes, when he finally shows up for the final confrontation, the action's a lot of fun. It's really creative with how many different ways he can kill people in here, because he does actually kill these people. He doesn't have a no-kill code, which we'll get to in a second. But it's a lot of fun. It's really cool. All the ways he's able to take people out or kill them, depending on which one, is really creative. There's a lot of cool stunt work going on. It's a lot of fun, and the camera work isn't a complete mess. Hell, there's even, like, a really good, like, long take that takes place around halfway through this fight scene, and it's done pretty well. There's a bit of shaky cam every now and then, but it's not, like, Batman Begins level bad. You can still, it's just shaking a little bit, but you can still see what's happening, unlike Batman Begins, where it was shaking to the point where I felt like I was having a seizure. I couldn't see what the hell was happening. But, yeah, so the action was pretty fun. And then there's another saving grace of this, which this is a huge spoiler, so if you want to see the movie, go see the movie first and then come back. And it was a twist I was not expecting. Now, I, of course, knew that there was going to be some big flashback to why he stayed out of the game, like some traumatizing flashback that happened that night where he, who was apparently Samaritan, fought his brother, Nemesis. And it's revealed that the hero of this movie is actually the villain. Now, I don't mean the guy, the Stallone's character, Joe. I don't mean he becomes evil at the end. I'm talking about because these villains are ones who, like, worship Nemesis, I get, because it's, like, the same kind of thing as the Joker, I guess. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it doesn't make sense why there are so many of them, but I digress. It's the same thing. It's not the same thing with the Joker. I never really got. But it's revealed that he wasn't Samaritan, he was Nemesis. And I'm not gonna lie, that took me by surprise. I take pride in the fact that I can usually see when twists are coming, and I can usually figure out what it is. Not always, but I can usually figure it out, or at least get pretty close, like get the basic idea of what's going on. This one took me completely by surprise, because I wasn't looking for a twist like this. I was looking for a twist, like, something happened between him and Nemesis. I was not expecting this twist, and they do the flashback. They have a quick flashback to when, because Samaritan is actually dead. People believe that he's dead, and so is Nemesis. And this kid, of course, believes that Joe is Samaritan, but he's revealed to be Nemesis. And like I said, it was a good twist, and they do, like, the flashback to that night when Samaritan died, and then Nemesis takes off his, like, helmet, and they have a de-aged Sylvester Stallone, and it looks better than I would have thought, especially for an Amazon movie, but it still doesn't look good. And that's the same thing I can say for these effects. They don't look terrible, but they don't look good. They look better than Secret Headquarters or Prey, and even better than Bullet Train at times. Bullet Train had some really bad-looking CGI. You know what? I can't go that far, but the CGI, it's not terrible, but it's not very good either. But the stunt work is pretty good. Like, I will give credit, the stunt work is pretty good. And, like, whenever they have a stunt double for Stallone, it's not very often, but they do it at, like, a wider shot, so to avoid, like, obviously seeing the stunt double, which is a problem with some action movies. And so the cinematography isn't like I said, the cinematography isn't terrible. That's something else that's just kind of fine. Like, most of the stuff in this movie is fine. It's just so damn boring. It takes forever to go anywhere. Like, it's an hour of nothing, then it's 10 minutes of setup work, and then there's a 30-minute climax. That's this movie in a nutshell. And it's not very interesting most of the time, but it is saved by the last 30 minutes, which is pretty enjoyable and has a really good twist to it. So, is there anything else left to talk about? The music's kind of forgettable. There's not, like, I barely noticed there was even music in this movie. So, yeah, I got nothing to say there. There's gotta be something else. Nope, I'm good. The dialogue's pretty cringy at times. It's, like, there are times where it has some decent lines, but overall the writing, like I said, is, like, the worst part of this movie. It's like this, like the same thing I said with Secret Headquarters. The writing, the script is the worst part of this movie. The action is cool, the direction isn't too bad, and the acting is mostly good. Like I said, the kid's not great, but Again, I don't know, maybe this kid will improve, or maybe it was just bad direction. That's always something I can never figure out. But anything that involved someone putting a pen on a paper or their fingers on a keyboard and having to write something is the worst part of this movie. But yeah, still better than Secret Headquarters, I can tell you that much. But like, I would say, if you're interested, I'd say give it a watch once. I probably won't ever watch this again. And yeah, this is just going to be one of those movies that I'll have forgotten about within a few days. So, yeah, that's all I got for Samaritan. I'm going to give this a C. Yeah, I'm going to give this a C. That seems right. Because, again, it's not everything but the script is good. But and the script, like I said, isn't the worst. Like again, it has some decent moments to it. But overall, it's just boring. That's the biggest problem with this movie, is that it's just boring. So I think there's so much watching, and and even though I'm not a big anime fan, I'm gonna actually go watch Dragon Ball Superhero, because the theater down the street from my dorm actually has it out now, because it didn't last weekend, because it only plays a few movies at a time, but now they have it out, so I can go watch it. So I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.